I am sure very many people will agree with me that family is one of the most wonderful bonds in this world. Either through birth or marriage, when people come together to form a family, it becomes a very special bond. And above everything else, they always care about and look out for each other throughout their lives. But the story that I am about to tell you is incomprehensible to me. I cannot really grasp it, and I don't know if you can. This is the narration of true events that happened, and by sharing the story with you, I hope we can all learn something new. In the rural farming community of Adaklu Tebipo in the Volta region of Ghana, 40-year-old Mama lived with her husband and their 9 kids. It is quite unusual to find such large families in Ghana these days, but I guess in rural communities a family of 9 children would probably not raise many eyebrows. But even then, it is not very common to find a single family with up to 9 children. Well, but as I said earlier, Adaklu is a farming community where people mostly engage in subsistence farming. And that is a farming practice where families grow crops or livestock on a small scale, mostly for their own use. And then they sell the surplus whenever they get any surplus from time to time. In other words, it is the kind of farming practice undertaken by people with limited financial means, which in turn does not yield them much financial returns. In addition to that, it is a lot of hard, back-breaking work, because most of the work has to be done manually. So supporting a family of 9 children in that kind of condition must certainly be fraught with many hardships and difficulties. However, nothing is said about this particular family's financial status. So getting back to the story, on Tuesday the 16th of April 2024, Mama, which is the name that everyone called this 40-year-old mother of 9, went to her family's little farm, as they all usually do, with one of her teenage sons. In the days preceding that, there had been some tension at home. Mama had a series of sometimes heated arguments and disagreements with her husband, a man named Kwame Ayu. This wouldn't have been strange at all, considering that domestic arguments and disputes happen in every home, except for a dark twist to this particular altercation between Mama and her husband Kwame Ayu. It all began when Kwame Ayu is said to have discovered that her wife of so many years, that is Mama, had very recently undergone a procedure called LBTL, that is laparoscopic bilateral tubal ligation. So they call it tubal ligation for short. So she had undergone this procedure without his knowledge or consent. Now this tubal ligation is a surgical procedure that creates permanent contraception or sterilization in a female. It is commonly referred to as having your tubes tied. The surgery blocks the fallopian tubes, permanently preventing pregnancy. So that's what Mama did without her husband's knowledge. Now evidently, Mama must have secretly undergone this procedure because she knew that her husband would oppose it vehemently. But remember that they had 9 children. Looking at her husband's attitude towards her sterilization and at his subsequent actions, it is easy to speculate that Mama must have been forced to have many children against her wishes. But that can only be speculation at this point. What is clear is that she did not want to have any more kids. She did not want to have any more kids after bearing 9 children. And what is shocking is that her husband could not see reason in his wife's decision. Rather, and unknown to her, she was to pay a very heavy price for acting within her rights. But some say that she should have known, or at least she should have had some suspicions of what was to come. When Mama went off to the farm with her teenage son on that Tuesday, the 16th day of April 2024, it seemed like any other normal day. But no, that was until her eldest son closed from school, came home, and proceeded to the farm where she knew his mother would be, with the intent to go help her out. From the look of things, this must have been their usual daily routine, or probably not finding his mother at home at that particular time of day. He knew that the most likely place she would be is at the farm. So the eldest son went off to the farm, which is very likely not very far from home, a few minutes walk maybe, only to be met with a gruesome sight of his mother's unresponsive body lying in a pool of blood out there on the farm. She had been shot. So, shocked and alarmed at the sight of this, and overwhelmed with confusion and disbelief at this turn of events, the eldest son rushed back home with the devastating news. And as would be expected, family members and neighbors rushed back to the farm to investigate and witness what had happened. It was then that the son disclosed to investigators that his dad, Kwame Ayew, only a few days prior, in a heated argument with his mother, had threatened to kill her and had also said he would then end his own life too, presumably to avoid arrest. When family members rushed to the farm with police, Mama was pronounced dead at the scene. But the curious thing was that in all this commotion, Kwame Ayew could not be found anywhere. Now, Kwame Ayew had stated his intent to commit this crime. And now the crime had indeed been committed, and he appeared to be on the run. So he was declared a fugitive from justice, as he was the prime suspect. Yes, it appeared that he had indeed followed through with his threat to commit the unthinkable crime of the murder of his own wife of many years and mother to his many children, and then he had vanished. Had this man, now highly suspected to have committed this atrocious act, already escaped from town, or had he ended his own life too? Well, if his plan had truly been to end his own life after committing this act, as he had earlier threatened to do, according to his son, well, he did not. He did not. After hiding in the bushes overnight whilst a hunt for him was underway, Kwame Ayew is reported to have surrendered himself to the police. And some reports say that he initially gave a statement to the police that his wife had been killed by unknown assailants. But then He confessed to the crime soon afterwards, probably after realizing that the evidence against him was overwhelming. It is hard to comprehend what Mama did wrong to have suffered such a tragic end, or to imagine what kind of man could do this to his own family. It is probably even harder to have any idea at all what kind of effects this event will have on the 9 children left behind, having lost both parents in such harrowing circumstances and knowing fully well what their own father did to their mother. The biggest question on everyone's mind is why? How could anyone initiate and carry out such evil intent against his own partner of many years, and with whom he had fathered so many children, as many as 9 children? And for what? Simply because the wife, after bearing as many as 9 children, did not want any more kids. And so, for that reason, this man picks up a gun and actually plans and carries out the murder of his own wife. And some have said, why didn't Mama walk away? It is hard for me to imagine that this man was a loving and caring husband. Some say that any person capable of such deeds must have been a violent and abusive husband. But all this is speculation, of course. In all such cases, people are mostly always wiser after the fact. But what is not in doubt is that this was a gruesome, incomprehensible crime that should never have happened. Well, so this is the end of the narration, and I am sure so many questions fill your mind. And I cannot frankly make any sense out of it. And I don't know if anyone can. Thank you for watching. And kindly subscribe to this channel.